So my mom's from Philippines, my dad's from India. My family set a path for me, and they're both in the medical field. So growing up, it was like, be a doctor, be a nurse practitioner, like do something like that. And I feel like that wasn't my calling.
Welcome to Inside the Drive, the podcast that takes you inside Rolls-Royce and lends insight behind the drive of the accomplished entrepreneurs who commission them. Shanti Hoffman's powerhouse trucking company, Hoffman Transportation, has established itself as a reputable, multi-million-dollar empire. Ranked one of the nation's leading agents, her entrepreneurial endeavors also extend into the world of real estate. She was featured by Rolls-Royce as a Phantom Phenom in 2021. Shanti, welcome to Inside the Drive. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So Rolls-Royce honored you as a Phantom Phenom.
Yes.
Can you tell us what that experience was like?
It was an amazing experience. They chose several women that are inspiring, successful, that worked hard, philanthropists. And I was really shocked to be honored to be one of them, to be honest, because when I was in that room at one of the events, I was looking around like pinch me, like this can't be real. This is Rolls-Royce honoring me as a Phantom Phenom, which is a big deal.
Did they have you do different events? How did that all go down?
First, we did a video. We were featured on their Whispers app, and they put us on their website. They marketed us everywhere. It's a really amazing thing that Rolls-Royce is doing, honoring women, because it's very, women are very underrated, I feel like. So for a woman to own a Rolls-Royce, that's a big deal. Obviously, we're doing something right.
Yeah.
So we had events that they covered. We did a huge event in Pasadena. It was gorgeous. They also flew us out for Art Basel in Miami. So they did a lot for us, and it was really exciting, and I'm ready to see who the next set of girls are.
And you got to network within or like-minded
exactly
entrepreneurs.
And I'm still close to a lot of the girls from the group. It was really amazing.
What was your first Rolls-Royce?
Phantom.
Okay.
2020 Phantom.
Okay. And now you have a Cullinan Black Badge.
Yes.
So if you had to pick one or the other.
Cullinan.
Cullinan?
Yeah.
Why?
I just feel like it's, even though it's on the same chassis, right? But I just feel like I can just maneuver in it. The Phantom, even though I was driving that thing like a Honda everywhere, the Phantom, like this small little person. I mean, I just feel like it's the Cullinan is just more of a kids get in the back, let's go to sports. The Phantom, I feel like it's more for drivers.
Sure. This is a 2023 Rolls-Royce Black Badge Cullinan in Arctic white with a tailored purple interior. Black Badge provides the highest available performance specifications of Rolls-Royce, leading horsepower and torque figures as well as superior handling, along with unmistakable darkened styling. This model features a twin-turbo 6.7-liter V12, which provides 592 horsepower and is whisper quiet when you're sitting on the inside. Some key features include the contrast seat piping in grace white, shooting star headliner, and a dark chrome Spirit of Ecstasy. Describe the feeling that you had the first time you drove your Rolls-Royce.
Before we even got the car, we were invited, before we even got the Phantom, we were invited to this event. It was, I think I saw you there. It was the one in Palm Springs.
Yes.
We got to test drive.
Yes.
Because you guys
on the track.
did a really good job of saying, keep the car for a week.
Yes, of course.
Or go, you guys know
What's
your
that
clients.
old school saying? It's like, feel the wheel, seal the deal.
Right.
Yes.
Oh yeah, just take the car for a week. Enjoy. And
right.
then you're like, fuck, I got to give it back. So at the event in Palm Springs, we got to test drive all the cars. And remember, we went on the racetrack.
Yes. At
that moment, I knew I had to have one.
Was there a specific goal that you set for yourself before purchasing your Rolls Royce, or did you say my business has to be at this level, or?
So before we purchased the Phantom, I had got a Bentayga, a Bentley.
Okay.
And I love Bentley, but it wasn't doing it for me.
Right.
I feel like I wanted to get a Rolls Royce. It was just something, it's the best of the best.
Sure.
So that's really what led us there. I honestly I started with cars, went from growing up, I had a nice car. I had a Lexus, and then that was actually my first car.
A Lexus
was? Yeah.
Which
GS.
Lexus? GS.
Yes.
Okay.
And then from there, I stayed with Lexus. Lexus was really in, when we were growing up.
Right.
We're not going to say our age. And then from there, it was Mercedes, S-classes. And then it just slowly went up and up. And then after the Bentley, I'm I have to have a Rolls for the events too, because you guys lured us in with all the events.
Yes. I feel like we do some pretty cool events.
Right.
Yes, it's definitely about client experience.
Right.
How would you describe your style, and how is that reflected in your commission as far as your Cullinan Black Badge? Because you have the tailored purple interior.
2 years ago, my niece passed away. That's
Sorry.
my husband's sister's daughter, and her favorite color was purple.
Oh.
She was super young, 25.
Oh, wow.
And it was just something about purple has stuck to us.
Right.
So then when you called me and you were I have a black badge, but it's purple. That wasn't my first choice, but I'm let me just come see it. And then it just stuck to me.
Yeah.
And now it's Shanti in the purple Rolls-Royce.
I love that. Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear about.
Thank you.
Niece. That's difficult. You and your husband have a transportation company, right?
Yes.
Trucking company.
Yes.
Hoffman Transportation.
Yes.
How did you get started with that?
So we started in 2016 with $1 and a dream. Okay. So it doesn't even seem that long ago, but we had about 150 in our savings.
Okay.
We were living in LA, and at that point in 2016, I had just got licensed too as a real estate agent. Before that, I probably have every certificate you could think of, a manicurist license, an esthetician license. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
I do come from a really good family. I'm not going to take that from them. They're wealthy. They set a path for me, but
Sure.
I feel that path was for me to stay in Florida.
Okay.
Right? Because that's where I'm from. So my mom's from Philippines, my dad's from India, and they're both in the medical field. So growing up, it was be a doctor, be a nurse practitioner, do something like that. And I feel that wasn't my calling. I did go to college. I went to Florida State in Florida, in Tallahassee. And I tried the whole nursing thing. If you're Filipino,
Caretakers.
Go be a nurse.
Right.
So, and then my parents in Florida, they actually owned a staffing agency, a nurse staffing agency. They did that for quite a long time. They retired, and they just wanted us to continue what they had planned for us. And I don't know, for some reason even though it was turnkey, now I wish I took that shit over. I'm oh my God, why did I do that? But
Right.
That just wasn't for me. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, and how I even got to LA. My parents were traveling. They were in India, and I had a house in Miami.
Uh-huh.
At this time I was in Miami, and that house, my parents had bought it for me, and it was next to a college, right? So I said, I need to get to LA, right? At this point, I was doing event planning.
Sure.
I don't, the old Shanti from before babies. I was partying,
Yeah.
going out, South Beach, I was back and forth to LA. So I was you know what, I can make a lot of money in Los Angeles. But my parents, I was 21. They would never let me just get up and go, right?
Right.
They would definitely not fund it either.
Right.
So I found, since the college was right there, I found tenants.
Okay.
I rented out the house, and I'm I'm going to use that to pay for my rent in LA, right? So from then I was already business minded. I'm all right, I'm going to do this. So I had my little Lexus. I put all my clothes in there in the car, and then I shipped it, right? With on a transport or on a flatbed.
Right.
And I flew to LA, and my parents had called me how are you? I didn't tell them that I was doing this, because the type of people they are, they would never have let me.
So at this point, were you in nursing school?
At this point, I finished college, but
Okay.
I wasn't even in nursing school.
Okay.
At that point, I went for business.
Okay.
I switched career paths because I was like, okay, I'm gonna figure it out. I landed in LA and I told my parents I moved to Los Angeles. Imagine, I would kill my kids, right?
Did you know people in LA? Or
I did because I was back and forth.
Okay.
I had already some clients from doing event planning.
Sure.
This was even before Expedia and all that stuff. So a lot of entertainers and athletes would, since I lived on Miami Beach, like in that area, they knew to like call me, like, to like, hey, can you book like a table for me? Can you, like,
sure,
like, how it was back then, like, can you book reservations? And I was like, I'm going to turn this into a business.
Good for you.
Right. So I'm like that. I'm not going to just like do this just to like be out at the table or have free dinner. I'm like, I'm going to turn this into a business. And that's what really back then started my brain going like, I need to get to LA.
So take us from there. So you moved from Florida, you moved to LA. You started basically like a concierge service.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's what it was.
What was the actual reaction of your parents when they found out that you moved to LA? Were they disappointed? Do they support you now in your career?
They were disappointed because even though they're like great, they're well off, they just have like the old school mentality, right?
Sure.
Like they're comfortable, right? And they don't like risk. So I took a risk because that's why I feel like if I would have stayed in that little area in Florida, I wouldn't be who I am today. They were just so nervous.
Right.
But I just felt like I needed to learn on my own, and I wouldn't be in the house I'm in the cars I'm in. They're very, frugal with their cars. They don't have the type of cars we have. They even come to LA like, do you guys need all of this? Yes, we do.
So then what led you into trucking?
So then after that, met my husband, Garen.
Uh-huh.
And he's been a longshoreman.
Okay.
And his like grandfather, father, they like passed it on. So he was seeing all the trucks come in and out of the ports, right? He was at that time was there for about 8 years, right? And he was like, I can get these trucks, like, because there's a long line to get, it's just like a weird situation out there. But anyways,
sure.
Basically, since he's on the ports, he can kind of skip the line and get the trucks in faster to get to the containers, right? So he was like, we should get a truck. And at this point, we had like 150,000 saved, and we had no business credit, nothing. Like it wasn't as easy. Like people think like, oh, I'm going to just go buy equipment, and you know how it is, right? So the business was too new, right? So I was like, I don't know nothing about it, but I trust you. I'll let you lead.
Okay.
Right? Because at that point, we're like, we need to like figure something out. We went to Dodge because he's like, you know what? He's like a cowboy. You would never think it. Country music, likes his pickup trucks. So we went to Dodge, and he got like a big dually, like, like the big trucks.
Yeah.
So he was like, I'm going to get the trailer, and that way we can strap the containers on there and bring them back and forth to the ports. I'm like, all right, I was just with it. I'm like, all right, well, I'll book the loads. I'm gonna figure it out. Right. So we did that, and we were like, holy shit, like
this works.
Right? Yeah. And then we did that, and he kind of took a break from on the ports. You don't have to go in every day.
Right.
You can just go like, once you're in, you're in. So you can go like once a month, once a week. It's just whenever you go. So he's like, I'm going to focus on this. I figured out how to book loads and everything. Because we knew people in that business, but I feel like nobody really helps you. Right. You just got to figure it out. Like,
sure.
It's crazy. We were like, wow. And then he was like, let's get into dump trucks. Because at this point I was already building I was doing real estate, right? So I was like getting clients in real estate, and then we had like the trucking going. This is year one, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, the first year in trucking, we made from that profit after like the truck, $250.
Okay.
Not bad, right? One truck.
Sure.
He said, all right, well, this is pretty good. We need to get more, right? So then he started looking into dump trucks. And then the dirt trucks were like a game changer for us, because there's a huge profit margin, especially if we were also minority owned. So we basically self-taught ourselves everything. I'm like, basically, since we are a minority owned company, you get like perks. You get to move up if you bid on contracts and all that stuff. By year 2, like we were killing it. Like we quadrupled. Like it just went crazy, right? So basically there was fires up north or any natural disaster. They're like, we need trucks. So at this point now we have business credit, we have money, we can show. So now we're at this point like getting more and more trucks. And then we expanded and went to over the road trucks. So at one point we had 25 trucks, right?
Wow.
So that really took us to the next level of wealth, just with like a dream, right? Like, let's just figure it out. And before that, we thought to do many other things. So I just want to let people know that it's okay to start over.
Right.
I feel like people in our generation or even our age feel like I'd rather not do nothing because I'm embarrassed to start over.
Sure.
And there's nothing wrong. If you have to go and get a job for $20 an hour, go do it, right? You have to make some sort of...
So many people are afraid to fail, right?
Right. I feel like it's really the person and how hard you work.
So what would you say is the biggest like misconception about the trucking industry?
That it's easy. It's not easy. And it's not easy working with your significant other.
Yeah, how's that?
Thing. That was, I got fired so many times. There was I think he feels like because I'm like, I would use that. Well, I'm your wife. Don't talk to me like that. Or I'm also very alpha. So
right.
Sometimes I'll be like, you're just doing it wrong. And
yeah.
he'll be like, so it was very like, at one point he stopped even coming into the office. He's like, you deal with it. If there's issues, just, call me. But it's not an easy business. In the last 2 years, fuel went up. The economy totally shifted. Rates stayed the same. Fuel went up. Drivers wanted more money. So it caused a huge dent in our business where we had to sell a lot of trucks, downsize a business. But, it happens.
Sure.
But it was our baby because we had it in 2016. And now what are we in 2024? So it was a long time, but it took us to the next level.
Right.
To go diversify our investments, focus more on real estate and other things. But we did order 2 Tesla trucks. Uh-huh. So we've been on that wait list for 2 years.
Wow.
But we're waiting to see like how that's going to change the trucking industry.
So then at what point did you switch to focusing on real estate?
Well, throughout that whole time, because around the same time we started the trucking business, I was also starting real estate. So I was just doing everything. We both were. Because at that time when we started making good money, we started actually like flipping properties, using our dirt trucks to flip those. I made relationships with toll brothers to work on some of their projects. So we kind of like just did it together at the same time.
That's cool. Would you encourage your kids to be entrepreneurs, to take that route?
So we have our kids in the best schools, right? We're paying that tuition for a reason. But I feel like if college is for them, then do it. If not, it's fine. I feel like in our generation right now, entrepreneurs, even without college, are doing actually even better, right? We know people, both of us, probably are still paying student debt. Right? Making nowhere near doing a 9 to 5. So I just feel like it just depends on the type of person you are. If I know, because not everybody's meant to be a boss, right?
Right.
Sometimes I'm like, just give me a salary. It's too stressful.
So has there ever been like a moment in your career or a period of time in your career where you guys have, lost what you've invested or had to start over? Or
we've made a lot of stupid investments, thinking that it was the right move, invested with people that weren't really who we thought they were. I think, we've all, I don't know if I'm speaking for us, because my husband says, I am so friendly. I bring all these random people into our lives. And then it just like, Shanti, stop. So, I mean, I just look at the good in people. So there has been times, even now at the level where we're at, where it's still like a race, right? It's like, we still struggle day to day. Like our
What do you
bills
mean by that?
like just working, like getting up. I feel like just living in Los Angeles, our bills being the way we live. I'm going to speak on us, right? This is how we are. We work really hard. We make great money, but our bills are so high.
Right.
So it's like year 2024 is our year to really invest and save, because I don't like I think it's just because we just keep wanting more and more and more, right? So it's like the more money you make, it's like, oh, like what did my husband say? I'm gonna get the Spectre.
Yeah, literally
like,
on FaceTime
cars.
30 minutes ago.
It's just like I feel like there's a point. We both had a talk too. Like we have to really, like we have everything. Like what else, right? We have like the nicest house, the nicest things. Like our kids are in the best schools. There's a point where you have to really sit down and say, like, we prayed for all these things, so we need to like take a second. Let's make this year like investing, saving, and so forth.
Do you feel like maybe that it motivates you more? The more stuff that you have, does it motivate you to work harder?
It does, but it's like I'm tired.
Yeah.
He's tired. It's just sometimes it's like you get it and then you're like, it's the excitement, and then you're like, okay. Like I think like 2 months after I got that car, I'm like, I want another one with the seats in the trunk. Right?
The viewing suite?
Yeah, I'm like,
right.
When we go to football games.
Right.
But it's, I mean.
So with that being said, right, knowing what you know now, if you had to give your 18-year-old self advice, what would that be?
Just keep going, take the risk. Like just don't second guess, don't take advice from other people. I think if I would have took advice from my parents, if he would have took advice from his parents, I don't think, and I'm talking family, so imagine all the friends that are like, you shouldn't do that. Like, I don't,
Right.
I feel like just keep going, like do what you think you can. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Start that business. If it doesn't work out, do something else. People are so quick to give up.
Right. Who would you say are the most influential people in your life, and why?
My parents, for sure.
And why?
Because no matter what, they're there for me.
Right.
They got my back. And I'm blessed, and I get to see growing up, like they've been together 50 years. So I really see what like love is and happiness, even though my mom's like, this man, like, I just feel like they're really like they're people I look up to. Like
So
I really strive to be like them. Like I feel like people don't understand what the real reason is for marriage, aside from love and like happiness, because marriage, I feel like every year you're married to somebody different. I'm saying even if it's the same person, because
Sure.
we're growing, right?
Right.
We're evolving. We're not the same person we were last year, right? So it's like, I realize that now that they're older, it's like, that's really why it's important. Even if it's not married, you're not married, but if you're with somebody, because the whole point is when you grow old together, it's like, let's say you're sick. Who's going to take you to the hospital? Who's going to help you?
Right.
Right? It's like you're really like a baby again, right? So
Right.
you're helping each other, because I see a lot of older people that are sad and like depressed because they don't have that significant other.
Sure.
So it's like you have to look beyond all the bullshit and say, what's the real reason why people are here in relationships, right?
Right, right. So I guess that would lead me to, what makes you happy today versus what made you happy 10 years ago? Like, what's important to you now?
My family, my kids, hearing them say they got good grades, or, like they won a sports game. It's so different. Like 10 years ago, what was 10 years ago? That was 2013, before, like I had my son 2013. The most important thing for me was like going out. Like, what am I going to wear to the club?
Right, right.
Which is crazy, right?
Right.
Now I'm in bed by 8.
Yeah. I feel you, me too. 8:30 is pushing
Right.
it for me.
Yeah.
How do you balance kids, being a wife, being an entrepreneur?
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I feel like there's a lot of factors, because my issue is that I take work home. And that's actually one of like the biggest me and my husband are very great, right? We work well, we're happy, but his pet peeve is that I don't know how to cut my phone off.
Right.
You know? And I feel like even in your business, right? You have a client, if you don't answer, they're going to the next dealership.
100%. My phone is always on. I'm always answering.
But it's like, it's not healthy for us.
Yeah.
But then it's like, that's what he'll be like, it's not, we'll be in Disney and I'll be like, hold on, I'll be on It's a Small World taking the call.
Right.
But it's not healthy for us. But I'm like, only people like us would understand.
So what do you think you've had to sacrifice, if anything, to be successful?
My time.
Your time.
My time.
With your kids.
With my kids, with my husband. I mean, it's nonstop work. That's why I'm like, at a point, I'm like, when is like enough? Right? It's like, when could we retire? That's why I said 2024, I want to just diversify investments and have like plan C, plan D, and just go from there.
Yeah.
It's time is so important, right? Before you look at how grown your son is now.
I know. He's like
they don't
a
even
little
want to
grown
talk
man.
to us.
No,
like,
he's still obsessed with me. He doesn't want to move out of my house ever.
Yeah. See,
yes.
Our son, he's like on the phone talking to girls.
Oh.
We're like, who are you?
Yeah, no. See, I won't buy my son a phone yet.
Yeah.
I'm still like pushing that off. The text messaging through the iPad is enough as it is. But well, Shanti, thank you so much for opening up and sharing your journey. And I just appreciate you and keep inspiring. And
thank you.
Thank you.